This is Amud Yomi Gemara Shabbos Daf. Yud Beis Amud Aleph, and today's share has been dedicated by a very close friend who, Baruch Hashem, we've had this chos of learning so many dafim together and now so many amudim together. Sponsored as a chos Rafua Shlema for Yeshua ben Sarah Dvaira B'siyata D'Shemaya. The ultimate chos. The Schos HaTorah, Chasam Sofer says, Torah is Megan, should bring an incredible Yeshua and a complete Rafua Shalema to Yeshua ben Sarah Dvaira B'siyata D'Shemaya. So we turned over to Yud Beis Amud Aleph. Let's for one moment go back to Yud Aleph Amud Beis. We're trying to figure out the Zav wearing this pouch in order to catch and make sure these emissions don't get all over him. What is the story? And really what this goes back to is two braisos. That one brisa said, Lo yatza zav b'kisai, but if he did, it's a din derabanan. And the other brisa said it's a din deraisa. So we're trying to find at what level a zav who's going out wearing a pair of undergarments of some level, obviously it's not a full proper beged, or there wouldn't be a shaila, or wearing some sort of pouch to catch surrounding his aver. When is it going to be a deraisa? When is it going to be a derabanan? So the bottom of Yud Aleph Amud Beis, Rav Zira taught us that what's going on over here is that you're wearing this just to protect your clothing. And the Tana holds that Tulei Tinef is a loika chashiv. And he brought a raya. He brought a raya that a Tulei Tinef, that saving your clothing from getting soiled, is not significant. Because the Mishnah taught us Keifekaira la Kaisel. We're going to start from reading that Mishnah on the bottom of Yud Aleph Amud Beis. If someone turns over a plate on a wall while it's raining, and the plate protects the rain from the produce underneath. So if you put the plate there so the plate could be washed off, then the halacha is that if the produce gets wet, the halacha becomes susceptible to mekabel tama. It becomes a machshir likabel tama, which happens when a produce gets wet. But in bishvel, if you put the plate there, particularly shaloy yilaka kaisel, so the wall does not get damaged, which is similar to our case of putting something to protect it from being soiled. Einai biki yutan. Then it's not biki yutan. So for this Mishnah, we see that when you're doing something just to protect something, not just, but to protect something, it's not going to have significance. And that's the reason in this case, the plate is protecting the produce, but you're doing it to protect the wall, then it's not b'chiyutan, it's not that you put the water over there. So too, we're bringing this back to our case of Zav, that if someone's wearing this pouch and he's only doing it just to protect his clothing, it's not going to be a ma'isa chashuva, and therefore you'll not be chayiv on Shabbos. Says the Gemara on the first line of Yud Beis Amud Aleph, mi dami, what shaykh is between the cases? Hasam in the case of Tama. Where's the halach of Tama? When do we say that something is royally kabel Tama? Simply like a bailulani mashkin klal, is that he doesn't want the liquid at all, and therefore the items are not going to be mikabel Tama because you don't want the liquid. It's nothing to do with the fact that you put the item there to protect the wall. You don't want the liquid there. So there's no b'chiyutan because it's not something that you want to go in the produce. But in our case, he wants to catch the ziva because he doesn't want his clothing to get dirty. And therefore, we can't understand the brisa that taught us that there's only an issa derabanan of the zav on Shabbos. So says the Gemara, Halo Damya Elo L'Seifa. The case of Zav is like the case of the Seifa of the Brisa about Tama. Areva Shiyara Delf the Teicha, we have a Areva, a trough, a bowl, which is a leak dripping into it. So if you put it there particularly to catch the leak, the halacha is Mayim Hanitizin Vanitzafim Eina Bechiyutam. The water that splashes or spills out is not Bechiyutan, it cannot make other food Ra'oi Lekabel Tama. But the water inside the bowl is b'chiyutan. So we think, why? Because you want it to be there. So it's b'chiyutan, it makes it chashiv. So from here the Gemara wants to prove that if you want this pouch to be there covering the aver to catch the ziva, it is chashiv, therefore there will be a de'ah. Therefore, there will be a de'ah raisa. Therefore, Excuse me, I said that backwards. Let me correct myself. I apologize. Over here, you're catching the liquid, and therefore the liquid has a chashivos, even though it's, why did you put the bowl there so the bottom of the floor doesn't get dirty? But still, the liquid has a chashivos. So the Gemara doesn't understand. The Gemara is bothered that in the case of the zav, it's mamish the same thing. You're putting the zav there. You don't want to get your clothing dirty. And the l'chayra, we should still view the catching of the liquid as significant. So why would you not be over a daraisa? Ela Abaye v'Rav Adam Tervayu Lokasha HaRav Yehuda v'HaRav Shimon. The famous Rav Yehuda, the famous Rav Shimon, that's going to be the machlokes. And these two braisas, halfway down the Amud, Rav Yehuda, Rashi teaches us malacha she'eino tzricha legufa, shebertzayna lo yitzaseh v'eino tzarich leikar techila sakiach she'eino tzarich leziv zu shal yada ha'kis hazev avol pikein chayiv aleho. Rav Yehuda holds malacha she'eino tzricha legufa, you're chayiv. So over here it's true, you don't need the guf of the malacha, but you'll still be chayiv. Rav Shimon, of course, holds you are pater. Therefore, that's how we're going to answer up the two brises of Zaf. Okay, bit of a difficult start to today's Amud, but now it gets much easier. Says the Gemara, going back to the din of the Mishnah, you're not allowed to bring something out on Erev Shabbos because you might forget and bring it out on Shabbos. Tanit Ve'er Yishmael. But there's something that's an exception of this rule. You're allowed to go out wearing your tefillin even on Erev Shabbos. Why my taima? You have to always be cognizant you're wearing your tefillin, and therefore you're not going to forget that you're wearing your tefillin going into Shabbos. Says the Gemara, Kal v'chaymer mitzitz. To see the critical importance of wearing tefillin, it's like the tzitz of the Kohen Gadol. And it's even more than the tzitz, says the Gemara. Absolutely incredible. Ma tzitz, shein balazkara achas. What does it say? Amra Torah v'yamitzchay tamid. It says, Kodesh la'Hashem. And the Torah says it should be on the mitzach before the Kohen Gadol tamid. What do we learn from there? Tefillin shish ba'azkaras habis. Many mentions of Hashem's name. Malachas kam v'kama. Helkach midkar darkilahu. You're going to remember how critically important it is to be cognizant that we're wearing our tefillin at all time. Continues the Gemara, Tanya Chananya Oimer teaches Chananya Chayvan the Mashish B'Igdar Erev Shabbos Chashecha. One has to inspect his clothing Erev Shabbos. You have to make sure that you're not putting anything in your pockets. It's a very important halacha, and certainly anyone who lives in an area without an erev. If there's an erev, then it's not such a problem. But if you live in an area without an erev, then yeah, this is incredible halacha. Or Moshe Feinstein famously would not put anything into his pockets on the whole Erev Shabbos, lest one forget and have it in his pocket on Shabbos. So we continue the two dots smack in the middle of Amud. Le'yapale as kilov, one is not allowed to take lice out of his garments, nor allowed to read by the light of a ner. Says the Gemara, le'yapale as kilov bayom. On one hand, what does it mean now to take lice out of his clothing? That's something that's during the daytime. Why? Shema Yaharoi, you might come to kill a louse, and there's an isser to kill bugs on Shabbos. Rav Eliezer, and we're going into the din of Rav Eliezer holds like killing something in the rice to Tanya. Oh, Rav Eliezer, what's the difference? One little louse or a gans and gamal? It's an isser daraisa, says Rav Eliezer. And the Mishnah continues with, don't read at the light of the candle. Why not? Shema yatek, you might come to play with the candle. That's one way of learning the Mishnah. Oidelma tervayu shema yate. Or maybe both of these cases, maybe the Shema Yata is going backwards. Maybe the Araner is going backwards. That you're not allowed to delouse your garment by the light of a candle. You're not allowed to read by the light of the candle. So ask the Gemara fundamentally, how do you read Pashim Shan in the Mishnah? Is the Mishnah teaching us like Rav Eliezer is an Issa D'Oraisa to take out the bugs on Shabbos? Or perhaps what the Mishnah means that both the reading by the light of the candle and taking lights by the light of the candle are both forbidden. Says Gemara Tashema, Ein Poilim Ein Karlar and Hair. Says the Brisa, you're not allowed to delouse a garment, not to take out the lice, nor are you allowed to read by the light of the candles. From the Brisa, it seems like it's all one din derabanan. Says the Gemara Miyalim Masti. He said it's the exact same wording in the Mishnah. What do you see more in the Brisa? Tashema, another Raya. Ein Poilim Lar and Hair. It says another Brisa explicitly cannot take out lice by the light of the candle. Vein Karin Lar and Hair. Elum and halach shamar beliz Chanani ben Chizkiya ben Gairin. These halachs I said in the upper alley chambers of Chanani ben Chizkiya Shema Mina Tarvayu Shema Mina. We see both reasons are a din derabanan that you might come to tilt the candle to make a better light. Shema Mina. That is a conclusive raya to how to learn our Mishnah. Continues the Gemara, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, afilu lahavchen bein bigdai lebigdai ishtay. You're not even allowed to use a candle to differentiate between your clothing and your wife's clothing. Why? Because again, you might come to play with the fire to make a better fire. Amar Rava loyav maran ella de bnei mechayz, only people in mechuzah. Aval demech like lasaya midi yadai. People of chaklaya, it's not such a problem because it's easier to discern between the two types of clothing. Therefore, you're even allowed to do a lar haner, meaning the bnei mechuzah, seemingly their clothing was similar. Rashi explains that bnei chaklaya was why? Because they worked more, and therefore they had sleeves, they were narrower, and therefore there's a very big difference in the men and women's clothing. So you're allowed to do it by light of a candle because you don't have to tell such a difference. The older woman, is made the yada, but again, even in mechuzah, the younger woman, you're able to tell their clothing, and therefore it's not a problem doing it by the light of the candle. Tana Rabbanan, and with this we conclude, Ein Pailim versus a rabbim, one would not take a lice in versus a rabbim, even during the week, because it's disgusting to be picking lice out of your clothing. You're not allowed to induce yourself to throw up in the street. Sorry, one more brayso. When it takes lice out of his clothing, he's allowed to roll it between your fingers and throw it away. You're not allowed to kill the louse on Shabbos. Night of Azarik, you take it and you throw it in. You're not allowed to roll the louse between your fingers. Amar Avuna, halacha, what's halacha? Mol of Azarik, you can roll it and throw it away. This is the respectful way of taking the lice out of the clothing, even during the week. Now says Gemara, how would different Amarayim deal with lice? Rabba Mekatalu would kill them. Rav Sheshes Mekatalu would kill them. Rava Shadli Kanya Damaya would throw the lice in a bucket of water. Amlu Ram Nechemia Lebenase. Ram Nechemia said to his daughters, Kitolim Ashvinuli Kolad Disanvalsa. Kill the lice. Let me hear the sound of the enemies die. Meaning he wanted to go and hold that you should kill them and you shouldn't let them float in the water. Says the Gemara, is this even on Shabbos? Tanya, Rav Shimon ben Elazar, in arguments of Machilas b'Shabbos, you're not allowed to kill the louse on Shabbos. Different Beis Shammai, but Beis Hillel said it is allowed. Matirin. Rav Shimon Elazar, Rav Shimon Gamliel, Mishadchas Yinagis Ares. No, okay, it's a new din. We're going to stop over here. But that is the chiddush of Beis Hillel that you're allowed to kill the louse on Shabbos. The reason for this, Mirza Hashem, is we're going to get to much later on in the Masechta, and we'll pick it up from the next brayso about Mishalchanas Atinaykes La'ares B'siyata Dishmaya.